What's going on, guys? This is Miyasin, and I'm actually back with a very old deck that people used to play back in 2016, so if you are new to Yu-Gi-Oh, you might not even know what this deck is, and a lot of people might see some cards here and be like, oh, I think I know this deck, right? It's Hero. That's all it is. Yes and no. It's actually Bahamut Shark Toad Dark Law Turbo. It's funny because it's not the typical going second, oh, I'm gonna kill you with Vision Hero Ferris and to increase into Strato searching whatever and then fusion summoning for Sunrise, Miracle Fusion, all those plays. No. It's none of that. You're not playing a single card that locks you under hero monsters for the turn, and you're actually trying to make either generic rank 4s or making Bahamut Shark with Toad and Dark Law access, featuring quite a bunch of spell cards so you can discard them for a card called Summoner Monk. So, I'm actually trying to revive this old deck, so I hope I'm making the old players happy, because this is definitely a deck that I think is really interesting, and definitely has the potential to be quite, I don't know, at least rogue-ish, because Dark Law is just one heck of a card. But before we get into this combo video, make sure you like and subscribe, and now let's jump right into it. So combo number one, literally nothing has to be super specific, so I'm actually just showing random hands now, but this hand is actually super explosive. Hero Lives is overpowered, and as a matter of fact, you can actually argue that for this deck, Hero Lives going from 3 to 1 is infinitely more annoying than, it's actually not even a good trade for Stratos going from 0 to 3, because this deck doesn't actually play Stratos. Anyways, you're summoning Shadow Mist to search for that mass change, and then Tin Goldfish into Bubble Man. If this card gets Veilered or whatever, it doesn't matter, because Bubble Man has an effect to special summon itself from the hand anyways. So now Bahamut Shark into Toad, and then you're going to be setting everything, and then Emergency Call for Bubble Man, and exactly as I said, when you control no other cards in your hand, you get to special summon Bubble Man for free. And now Instant Fusion into another level 4 water, RIP Elder Entity Norden, the best fusion monster of all time, arguably, ish, kind of. Even without Instant Fusion, the card's overpowered. Anyways, Bahamut into another Toad, and boom, that's it, just like that, man. Just like that, you were able to end on Dark Law and Double Toad. Dark Law is actually 2 interruptions at once. It's a passive Macrocosmos, only for your opponent, but also every time your opponent searches or even draws a card, once per turn though, you can banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand. That's actually kind of nasty. And combined with 2 Toads and 2 Bahamut Sharks for extra pressure next turn, so either these Toad dies, you can just recycle them back to the extra deck, and then Bahamut into Toad again. Oh my god, this deck is super annoying to deal with, right? Anyways, that's just combo number 1. Let's get into the other combos now. This is just I want to say an example of how this deck does have the potential to be kind of a pseudo one-card Yu-Gi-Oh kind of deck, which is something that the deck couldn't do before. And literally, again, literally anyone who kind of has basic knowledge on Yu-Gi-Oh would understand it. But if you have, let's say Shadow Mist with 4 utility cards to kind of stop your opponent from playing a little bit, you can actually get an engine started just with that 1 Shadow Mist. So you go into El Mirage, and the next turn you go for Liquid Soldier into Shadow Mist, summon it back, and obviously it searches mass change on the summon, and then you can set that mass change, and then during your opponent's turn, transform it into a Dark Law, always trying to maximize value. So you go mass change during your opponent's turn, because you really want to be able to get that search off of Shadow Mist, because Shadow Mist does lock you under only 1 effect per turn, and only once that turn, so you get to choose between either searching mass change when it's special summoned, or searching a hero monster when it is sent to the graveyard. So obviously if we special summon it during our turn, and then send it to the graveyard during our opponent's turn, we get to kind of take full advantage of Shadow Mist, and just like that, look at all this, man, we get to search a Bubble Man, next turn we can just special summon it to make Bahamut Shark, Toad, all of that just with 1 Shadow Mist. Like I said, the longevity of this deck is pretty nice, and as long as you can draw those utility cards to stay in the game, you are good. But that's it for this combo. Let's get into the next one. Okay, now again, another super random hand. This time I have a pretty... It doesn't really look that broken, right? Well, don't worry, my friend. Everything in this deck is broken, so set everything, and then Emergency Call into Bubble Man, special summon, make a Biz Dweller, and then detach to literally just trigger your Shadow Mist on your own turn, and then search Bubble Man, special summon Bubble Man, retort fusion into Rare Fish. Now this is a vanilla monster, so it is summonable by both Instant Fusion and Retort or Ready Fusion. And then you can make that Bahamut Shark into Toad. I guess if your opponent hand trapped you, you had the Tactic Talents. And you have Gravedigger's Hole as well, so this was just a completely random hand. I did not stack it whatsoever. But now let's jump into the final combo. Now I really want to show you guys how this deck just doesn't really care about modern hand traps necessarily, because some of the cards that you're playing kind of allow you to already play through hand traps in a way. Ghost Belle would never really affect you unless it's hitting Liquid Soldier. Imperm is a pretty good card, but we can have some adorable ways of playing around the card. Look at this, man. My hand, is it good? It's pretty good, but, I mean, I'm good at the game. I'm just skillful at Yu-Gi Mons, so look at this, man. I go Summoner Monk, discard a spell card for cost, which is pretty expensive. Your opponent obviously wants to Veiler or Imperm you, right? Absolutely, and we can just chain Book of Moon. By the way, fun fact right here, even if, and I said if, our opponent had another Veiler or Imperm, well, not Imperm because you can't use two Imperms, but another Veiler, and your opponent would try to change the Veiler, your Summoner Monk would still resolve because face-down monsters, they don't really care if they were negated before, they would still resolve while face down, which is kind of funny, even if the negation is on the last chain. It's crazy. So Subterra Guru is like unnegatable when you have Fiendus. Anyways, so you Book of Moon, which is kind of going to make the Summoner Monk dodge the Imperm, so doesn't successfully resolve because it's face down. And then obviously the Shadow Mist is going to not trigger its effect. You're going to see why. Mass Change on your own turn for that Dark Law, and then obviously it's still your turn, so search the Bubble Man, set that Emergency Call, and then Special Summon Bubble Man, and then Emergency Call for another Bubble Man. Up until now, nothing that we did was Ghost Bellable, absolutely nothing at all. Now we go for Bahamut and then Toad, and that's it, man. Our entire hand was able to play through an Imperm and not care about a Ghost Bell whatsoever. Our opponent's engine is so irrelevant here. We can let so many cards resolve because they don't scare us. Now Widow Anchor obviously does scare us, so we are forced to go Toad Negate, and whatever, my opponent really is going to Ghost Bell me here, oh my god, big deal. Cosmic Cyclone just so you make me lose the card that I stole from you anyways? Yeah, that's a nice deck you got there. What else? Hornet Drones, sure thing, yeah, that's completely fine. How many spell cards is that in the graveyard? A grand total of, not enough. Hayate, yeah, Foolish from deck to grave, Dark Law, one interruption, huh? Yeah, it's more like infinite interruptions, and look at this, man, this is so cute. Regardless of what your opponent searches, it doesn't matter. You can just go Banish, and even if your opponent goes like Chain Widow Anchor, it's the end phase anyways. You're not doing anything. Even if you're stealing the Dark Law, it doesn't matter. Yeah, this card applies so much freaking pressure. I can't even stress that enough, man. This deck is super scary, and of course, Bahamut Shark is still on the field, so it applies even more pressure, summoning another Toad, and then, oh, we were good at the game, so Liquid Soldier top deck into Shadow Mist, search another Mass Change, and then make an Abyss Dweller. All of our water monsters gain 500 because we have a water material underneath, and this is an absolute mess for your opponent, regardless of what deck he's playing. So that's pretty much it for this Hero Toad combo video. I really hope you guys are looking forward to the deck profile. Make sure you let me know in the comments what are your thoughts on this deck, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.